Hello, it's Burgess Taylor from Journey with Burgess. Welcome to Monday's Coffee Chat. Today we're going to talk about how to get over creative self-doubt. Grab you a cuppa and let's get started. How to get over creative self-doubt. Have you ever thought, I don't have what it takes? I wish I could draw, paint, journal. I wish I were talented. I wish I were gifted. I would like to start writing. I'd like to write a novel. I'd like to play a musical instrument. All of those things can be done. It's not too late. I'm 50 years old. I've been on YouTube for almost 4 years. I've been living a creative life now for about 5 years. And I'm sorry for the lighting, but it's a little bit cloudy, so the clouds are going back and forth. I have some tips about how to get over self-doubt, but I thought I'd talk about some of the things. If you've ever heard that voice in the back of your head that says, I'm never going to be good enough, or I don't even know what I'm doing, so there's no point in starting. And I've talked about this before. If you're already doing things, but you're so wrapped up in that perfectionism and that self-doubt and that fear and stuff that you aren't having fun with whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's your journal pages or your writing or your painting, your whatever it is, if you're not having fun, if the self-doubt, that fear so overwhelms you that you're not having fun, that you're not creating, that you're not doing those things that you really want to do, either that you've never tried or that you do but you just can't do right now because of the self-doubt, you're not alone. Which is one of the big things. You're not alone. You are not the only person who has ever felt that way. Now, one of the things that goes hand in hand with that, because we're not the only people who have doubts, is that comparing yourself to others and worrying about what others think. Those are two different things, but they kind of go hand in hand. Worrying about what other people think, people tell you, don't worry about what other people think. But that's a lot easier said than done, especially today, because there's social media is so prevalent. We have selfie pictures everywhere. We have Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Snapchat and all of the things. And a lot of times on social media, people are putting their best face forward. You know, they've taken a lot of time to create that picture on Instagram. There's no telling how many pictures they took to get that one picture that they thought was picture perfect. I don't do that. Which is probably why my Instagram feed is not like bursting at the seams with followers, because I put the real stuff on there. I do put my best face forward. So comparing myself to others would do me more harm than good, because I'm me. I'm unique, and there's only one of me, thank goodness. But it's sort of futile to compare yourself to anyone else, because you don't know how long they've been practicing lettering or drawing or watercoloring, or how long they've been writing, or how much experience they have with whatever it is that they're doing, whether they were trained, if they had an instructor or a mentor, if they learned on their own. You don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know. So there's no way for you to fairly compare yourself to anybody else except your past self to see how much you have improved, to pat yourself on the back. Remind yourself of past successes. You can look at the failures if you can do so with an open mind, and remember that, you know, you tried. Even when you didn't succeed, you tried. And if you pat yourself on the back every time you try, eventually you'll keep trying because you got that positive reinforcement. And a lot of times the reason that we fear things is because of that resistance. We oftentimes mistake resistance for fear. If we are resistant to things that are out of our comfort zone, to change, to trying new things, all of those are actually opportunities for growth, and growth is an opportunity to learn to make things a habit. If you start small with something really tiny and you do it, pat yourself on the back. Give yourself that positive reinforcement. That'll alleviate some of the fear. Start small. Pick up the pen. Pick up the brush. Pick up the guitar. Pick up the needle and thread. Pick up that yarn and the crochet hook. Pick up whatever it is that you'd really like to try and try it. And keep trying it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Because one of the biggest things is that starting. If you listen to those doubts, well, I'm not going to be good at it, so it's not worth doing. That's not true. One small step at a time. One small step at a time. One day at a time, one thing at a time. That's why we talk about that kind of thing all the time. It's like with babies. Babies aren't born knowing how to walk or talk or draw or ride a bicycle or read or write. We teach them those things. They don't come out of the womb knowing them. And if you expect to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and draw or write a novel without at least practicing some, now we could get into the whole debate about some people are naturally gifted or talented, but when you compare yourself to somebody who's been practicing art, drawing for, I don't know, 10 years, 30 years, compared to somebody who's just started, there are things you have to learn, perspective and shading and all of this good stuff, you know? Stuff I'm vaguely remembering from back in high school when I actually used to be better, but I didn't have the fear and the self-doubt that I do now. That I wasn't as afraid to try, to look at that apple or that bowl of fruit and just draw it, to look at where the light hit. So one of the other things with one step at a time is to set some goals, long-term, mid-range, short-term, with those actionable steps to help you do the things you really want to do. Just get started. I promise it'll be worth it. If you start, you'll learn a lot about yourself. Even if you just think about all of the things that you are so about with the self-doubt, with that fear and that anxiety over things, if we work through some of that, we take a long, hard look at some of those things that we're afraid of, you'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll discover things about yourself that you weren't aware of. And we're all feeling sometimes those bits and pieces of self-doubt. So if you take a look at what you're feeling, maybe getting out of your comfort zone is something you need to work out little by little. And that in and of itself will help alleviate some of that self-doubt. We develop habits, and the more that you do something, the better you get at it. If you remember to keep creating, even when it's hard, even when you're not sure, even when you feel all those self-doubts, even when you feel like it's not good enough, you're not good enough, even when it's hard, if we get out of that being so wrapped up in the perfectionism and we let some of that go and we just have some fun, if we do what we can, when we can, and we try our best and we keep working at it, that's practice. And then you will tweak it as you learn. As you keep doing it, bit by bit, step by step, little thing by little thing, you'll continue to tweak. You'll learn and grow. Because you learn from your mistakes just as much as you learn from your successes. And that will build muscle memory. It will build the habit of doing it. You know, things are rarely perfect when you first attempt them. Think about that little kid who's learning how to walk. They wobble all over the place. They fall down. If you were to think about a child who's first learning how to read and write, if you, however, let that self-doubt build and you don't do anything about it, it becomes a spiral, a very negative cycle of that, of self-doubt and fear will just keep on and keep on and keep on, and it will spiral, and it feeds into each other. The self-doubt and the fear and the anxiety and the perfectionism, it all feeds into each other. Now, if you also remember, when it comes to criticism, whether it's criticizing ourselves, because we can be our own worst enemies, or others criticizing our work, we are not our work. I am not my art. I am not my writing. I'm not my projects. I am me. Now, my art, my writing, my attempts at blogging, my videos, even, They are not me. They're a part of my creative process. They're part of the process. I am part of the process, but I am not my art. My art and my writing and it's just a small little bit of me. It's not the overall of me. I am not the art or the writing or the projects or any of those things itself. I am just me. So one of the last things that I think will really help, that really does help with self-doubt, is what I'm going to call, we could call any number of things, but we'll call it self-care. Things like gratitude, meditation, exercise, mindfulness, getting enough sleep, eating healthy, all of those good positive things that make us feel better physically and mentally will help alleviate some of that self-doubt. I know it sounds so simple, but the better I feel physically and mentally, when I'm more mindful, when I'm more positive, when I'm more in the moment, when I let go of that comparing myself to anybody else, of worrying about what other people think, of thinking I'm a failure because I haven't figured this out already. When I just try and I do my very best and I just do, and I let go of some of that perfectionism and I'm just having fun, I do so much better and I feel so much better. And I have been through the ringer the last few months, and I let a lot of things get to me. My anxiety and the depression and different things, they were really blocking my creativity. Really blocking my creativity. But I took small steps towards getting my creativity back, towards bringing back the joy in my life. And the more I bring back the joy in my life, the more I seek joy actively and I seek things out of my comfort zone, little by little, little by little, little by little, believe me, the better I feel mentally and physically. And the less self-doubt there is, because the less I have room for self-doubt. Those negative thoughts are going to do nothing but circle around, and they're going to feed off of each other and grow. But if you turn that around and you primarily focus on the positive things, even if it's little things. I heard a quote, I don't know who said it, but I think it's important because brave is my word for this year. And part of being brave is about being courageous. So here's the quote. Courage is telling the story of your life with your whole heart. Courage is telling the story of your life with your whole heart. And don't know where I heard that. I don't know where the quote came from. Part of letting confidence become your guide instead of self-doubt is about making a lot of those things I mentioned before a part of your daily routine, your self-habits. Being mindful, being positive, trying, keep doing. Even when it's hard, show up to the page, show up to the computer screen, show up to the blank page. There are some days, like yesterday, when I had nothing but camera issues and problems, when the last thing I want to do is to continue showing up. If I hadn't been in the mindset that I have been in lately, if this had been a couple of months ago, I would have chunked that camera across the room. I was that irritated and frustrated. I was in a lot of pain. I was trying to get things done. And every time I turned around, something technology related was not working right. My fancy camera, it didn't want to behave. It did not want to focus, no matter what I did. So I don't know if some settings have gotten messed up somewhere or what, but it didn't want to focus at all. If you watch the video, you could see where it was out of focus. I've learned from that. My smaller camera, which is right now hooked up to the thing that goes on that boom arm back there, the battery kept dying. I need a new memory card. I need to get an extra battery for this camera. And I need to play with some of the settings in this. I'm feeling I'm going to be in research mode. Now it takes beautiful pictures. It will focus perfectly for pictures, but not for video. But if I let all of those setbacks make me negative, and believe me, I was cussing and fussing, and finally I took a breath. I shut the cameras off. Because at one point in the video for Patreon, you won't see it in the video for YouTube, but in the video for Patreon for the higher tier, I put my hands right here in front of the camera. It's like, look, my camera is like right here. There's no reason I should have to have it this close to get it to focus. I should be able to have it up. And so I just stopped. The other camera was charging. I stopped. I was in pain. I stopped. Because the worst thing in the world you can do is try to do something, to concentrate on something when you're not feeling physically at your best or mentally at your best. That just sort of eggs on the anxiety and the frustration and the self-doubt and the fear. Is this really worth it? I don't know what I'm doing. I just should give up. I should just quit. But I didn't quit because I'm not a quitter. I can't stand to quit something. I am the most stubborn, determined, resilient person when it comes to that. Don't tell me I can't do something. So instead of letting that negative, I walked off, walked out of this room, shut off the light, let the camera charge, fixed myself something to drink and something to eat, took some leave, sat down, and read a couple of chapters in a book. My camera was charging. There was nothing I could do, so I read a couple of chapters in a book. I came back, chatted with somebody on Facebook for a few minutes, and then after I'd relaxed, gathered myself together, I went back to my task. And with that, the little camera had charged. It was like later on I can get to the issue with the bigger fancy camera. But for now, I need to do what I can do. And that's all I can do, is do what I can do and do the best that I can. So I don't have any profound advice except to say that it all feeds upon itself. It all feeds upon itself. So if you want to journal, get a pen and a journal, or a pencil and a journal, and journal. If you want to write, pen and paper, computer screen. Now I've got to go. Mr. Rockstar's alarm's going off. Bye, y'all. I'm back. Mr. Rockstar has been working nights, and I'm filming this along and along, I guess. As I was saying, if you want to write, pick up a pen, a notebook, piece of paper, open up a Word document. If you want to draw, get a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper or a notebook. If you want to learn how to play a musical instrument, research, read a book, watch some videos. Mr. Rockstar taught himself how to play the guitar. Quite a few of my uncles taught themselves how to play the guitar. If there's something you want to do and fear, self-doubt is holding you back, you are the only person in your way. Nobody else is in your way. The thing is not in your way. The only thing that's in your way is you and that fear, that self-doubt. And of course, doubt never really goes away. I haven't conquered doubt. I have learned to work through it. And I think that's the key. And maybe it was going through everything I went through. I know that my dad's death changed me. Being at my mom's side at the hospital for that long week changed me. Saving my mom's life, fighting for her, saved me, not just her. And I think that it saved me in a way that I hadn't even realized I needed saving. I was headed down a path thinking, okay, I'm doing pretty well. I'm branding myself slowly but surely. I'm doing my videos. I can get back into blogging. I can continue to learn more and to do better on Patreon, through YouTube and Patreon and my website and branding myself. Eventually, this will be full-time and I can have some independence financially. But in the back of my head, and all of those things were a good thing. In the back of my head, I was thinking, well, maybe I need to change my background. Maybe I need to change what I make videos about. Maybe I need to take a long, hard look at what videos get the best reach, which videos have the longest viewing, which videos have more comments and likes, which videos are being shared. They don't really get shared. I share them. I was thinking, how can I improve based on what other people were doing that was working? And I was getting to the point where I was about to change. It would have been slowly, but I was about to change the look back here. I was about to change how I have everything set up so that it would be more. I was going to change some of the videos that I do so that I'd have more views. But when my dad died and I had to take a break from YouTube, I took a break from Patreon. They were short breaks. I did post a little bit, but it made me take a hard look at what I was doing. Taking that break from it, when I came back and I sat down to film and I sat down and I looked at my space and I looked at what I was doing. Some of the things that I didn't like before really didn't matter anymore. Comparing my stuff and what I do to other people's stuff isn't going to work for me because I'm me. Doing what somebody else does, some of those things will work. Concentrating on better quality of video, concentrating on my video editing skills, concentrating on improving what I do or how I do it. Those are all good things. But trying to be like somebody else so that I can succeed, won't work because it's not me. I have to find my niche and do what I do. And that's what I learned. And I took a long, hard look at myself. And self-discovery can be a vicious thing. When you open your mind and your heart to some of your own flaws, to some of the things about yourself that you're really not liking, that could be a very hard thing and be a slap in the face. I can't change me to be somebody I'm not, and I won't change me. So a lot of that self-doubt went away because I was like, you know what? I'm good. I will continue to improve the quality of my videos. I will continue to improve the quality of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, my video editing skills. I will continue to improve quality. I will continue to produce content. I will continue to learn as an artist and a writer, a creative person, a DIYer, a blogger. I've actually got a blog post, and while this is uploading, it will be going up. I have to revamp it some. I'm going to add I'm going to add a playlist in, and I'm going to put some pictures in. But I've got most of the blog post written. I've got a few drafts that need to be edited and go out. So I've been changing things little by little since I got back, since October, since I got back from the hospital and everything. Self-doubt hasn't completely went away. Self-doubt has not completely went away. And I don't think it ever will completely go away. Some of those doubts about different things will reside in the back of my head, and every now and again they're going to rear their ugly heads, and self-doubt's going to knock on that door, and it's going to go, hey, you thought you were doing good. You don't know what you're doing. You're an imposter. You suck. You're never going to be a success. And if you do happen to succeed, it's going to be kind of one of those overnight things, and you're going to fail, and then you're going to be flat on your face again. Those doubts are going to be there. But the key to knowing that they're there in the back of my head, the key to understanding that it's a mindset, maturity, and habit, and confirming inside of myself that, hey, okay, you're there, but you know what? You don't rule. You don't rule. I'm going to pick up my pen and I'm going to write. I'm going to pick up my pen or my pencil and I'm going to draw. And I'm going to make videos and I'm going to do whatever it is. I'm going to look fear in the face and I'm going to laugh because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to try. And if I succeed at it, great. If I don't, it's okay because I've learned and I've grown as a person. And that's all I can do is continue to learn. I'm a work in progress. We're all works in progress. We learn hopefully something new every day. And the more that I learn, the more that I grow and the better I become. So don't let fear keep you from doing things. My dad said he had lived a good life. He didn't have any regrets. And that made me think, if I died, God forbid, lately everybody I know directly and indirectly, cancer is rampant. And I think, what if something happened to me or Mr. Rockstar or my kids or my grandkid or my mom or my in-laws? Do I want to have regrets? I don't want to have any regrets. I want to be able to say what my dad said. I lived a good life. I don't have any regrets. I lived a good life and I don't have any regrets. I'm doing things that bring me joy and I'm actively seeking joy. And part of actively seeking joy means that I'm doing some of the hard things, but I'm having a positive attitude. When I start to do those hard things, I might sigh a little. Okay, gotta do this. Fear of that blank page, fear of busting my butt, fear of falling flat on my face, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. They're all there, but I'm not listening to those voices anymore. Those voices have been dismissed and they're in timeout permanently. They're in the corner because I don't have time for that. Life is too short and I don't have time. And you don't either. You can stand up to your fears, to those self-doubt, and do some of the hard things. Do some of the things that you're afraid of. Get out of your comfort zone. Just try it. What can it hurt if you try it? What can it hurt if you try it? So maybe you don't do well at it, or maybe you actually fail. Did you learn something from it? Did you learn something from it? Did it make you become a better person for trying? I think every time we try, whether we succeed or fail, we are a better person for it because we've learned and grown from the experience. So that's just my take on it. I hope that y'all have a great one. I will see you again soon. Bye, y'all.